Hi, my name is Catherine, and this is my final reflection video for CI 456, where I'll be talking about what's next for me and what I'm bringing with me from this class and how it impacted me as a future teacher, especially one that's going to enjoy incorporating technology as much as I can. I decided to use the program eMaze to make my presentation just because I thought it was one of the neat programs that Mrs. Fath's class showed us that one day when they all came in and showed us the programs. I made quite a hefty list of them, and eMaze was one of them that I wanted to try out, and it ended up being really cool. I like a lot of the templates. I think it's more definitely of a business program, but as you can see, there's fun, creative ones for teachers too. So I think it might be something I might want to incorporate in my future classroom as well. So I did a little troubleshooting, things like that, and it turned out to be pretty neat. So basically what I want to explain is the top three things that I've learned during this course, not necessarily programs, but the overall arching lessons that I've learned. The first is that a story can be told in many ways. And we were asked to do a variety of literacy activities, especially because this is a literacy technology course, and a lot of times it revolved around students telling a story or hearing others' story. And so one of the main things that I learned from that is that it's all about the message. And I broke it down into three particular things: what's being heard, seen, and felt. A lot of times teachers kind of skip one or two of these and just kind of go straight for what's going to be seen or if student voice is going to be included. But if you break it down, all three of these components are really necessary in any sort of digital storytelling or presentation or blogging or anything. First of all, what is going to be heard? Is it the student voice that's going to be there? Is it going to be only music? Is it only going to be sound effects or video sound? They need to plan out beforehand what's going to be heard because things need to be written out, scripted. It kind of depends on the age group, but I learned a lot about that and how troubleshooting is going to be a big part of that as well. Also, what's going to be seen. Our students need to be making fun and professional looking products, and they really can do that. But if they just have it planned out what's going to be seen, maybe it's the actual students. Are they doing an interview? Do they need to be seen? Do the person they're interviewing need to be seen? Is it a scenery that they're depicting? Are they explaining something, maybe doing a how-to video? Is it pictures or graphics, or is it videos? These things need to be planned out and anticipated for, and that's part of the fun, is doing those storyboards and collaborating with others, deciding what's going to be done. And also one of the most important things is what's going to be felt from that video, and that's where the message really is drawn in from the audience. And it kind of depends how the video is going to go. Basically, is it the emotion that you're supposed to feel from the video? Is it more of a persuasion or a motivational message coming from our stories? And students definitely need to incorporate what is being seen and heard to portray that message and to portray that feeling for sure. So those are kind of things that I've learned, especially through digital storytelling learning, but also through all the projects, any of those wordless books. When we did that activity or the ThingLink activity, I was constantly thinking what is heard, what is seen, and what is felt. So that was a big lesson for me as a future teacher. The second lesson that I learned about is economy and how it's not just a business term. If you would have asked me what economy meant before, I would have talked about money and countries and things like that, but economy really is a technology and educational term, and it can be applied in many different ways. I broke it down into three different examples. First of all, with digital storytelling, it needs to be big and dramatic, kind of like our little graphics on here. The digital storytelling experience is all about what makes the story really dramatic, what makes the message come out, and how can that person bring out that message without making it so long that they lose the audience interest. And that definitely has to do with what is being seen and heard as well. In a presentation, I described it as plump, full, but direct. The term economy and presentation definitely means to bring across a message that is filled with their evidence, with their ideas, and with the students' emotions, but directly related to the topic and not dancing around other issues when the students need to be learning how to present their information and present their ideas in a professional and clear manner that still keeps the audience interactive and engaged the entire time. So plump, full, and direct. And then with social media, that really takes on the term of economy, kind of same with digital storytelling. Things need to be speedy and sweet. especially with platforms like Twitter, they're limited to characters and they're limited to what their ideas can say. So it's meant to spread just a short, quick, but impactful message, and that's how economy is brought into the technology education world through three different platforms. Lastly, what I learned about is who are our learners, and we talked a lot about this just with like getting an idea of how classroom management goes into this, how assessment goes into this, and if we are going to use technology, we have to know what our students' needs are. And I showed this with our little graphics of the different sized chairs and different sizes of needs of students as to whether they need more differentiation or individual instruction, things like that. So it was a lot of fun to troubleshoot with that and to think what are some ways that we're going to have to bring technology to the level of our students and prepare them for that. So what we have to consider first of all is how can we make the use of technology equitable for all students. Equitable learning in technology to me is when everyone is learning and sharing and feeling productive of the things that they're producing and having that positive support that they need, not necessarily just getting the technology that they need or getting the content support that they need, but are they given those tools that will help scaffold their experience and help it not be frustrating or anything too difficult for them. It all starts with the planning and whether we have those steps laid out, and then it ends with how do we measure success. We talked a lot about how the integration of technology looks so different with different age groups, different ability levels, things like that. And so the assessment has to follow the result of those differences. And for some students, it may be just completion. For some students, it may be exemplary work or bringing that level of technology to the community level or to their school level. So the measure of success has to differ depending on our students and what our learning goals are, which we worked a lot with, and with our technology plans and our TPAC, digital storytelling, things like that. We got to look closely into that. So that was actually a really good learning experience as well. So how will I apply this is what I talked about next, and even in my student teaching, which is coming up in a couple weeks. I wrote it out here just so we could get a clear picture of it. I said that as a student teacher, I really am going to have that extra special opportunity to build those relationships and hear my student's story from both a learner and a teacher point of view. As a student teacher, I'll be not quite their teacher. I won't quite be up to that level until I'm full-time teaching. So during those few weeks of practicing and learning, I'll be able to hear what they're interested in, what they want to do, how they want in technology in their room, what they want to learn about, and then hopefully I can bridge those learnings together and think of some cool lessons that will actually bridge their interests to some technology skills that I think that they need to have for those higher grades as well. In my kindergarten placement, which is first, I'll definitely be modeling a lot of storytelling, using personal stories to introduce myself. I'm planning on doing a little slideshow of pictures of myself on my iPad for the first day, just to kind of get them used to picture taking and things like that, and then maybe taking individual pictures of them and putting on a slideshow to incorporate them as well. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And then also using a lot of videos and images to engage them. I'm really looking forward to looking into those sites, especially ones that my teacher suggests that have those educational videos, maybe those brain break and whole brain teaching videos that I'd really love to incorporate as well. In my second grade placement, I will be helping them develop their own understanding of the world through a lot more digital texts. I'm going to be seeing what kind of stories are out there that they'll be able to read independently online, getting used to that online reading, as well as possible writing projects, creative writing, prompts using images and things like that. So hopefully some fun digital storytelling if my school supports the technology for that. It'll be a lot of fun if they do. And then in my own classroom, these are the 5 things that I will definitely be incorporating. A lot of blogging. I'm hoping to bridge the home and the school classroom together through the use of a classroom blog and the children's blogging. I think a lot of teachers just leave it as kind of an announcements platform, but I'd really like to take it farther than that. I'd like to post pictures, invite them to things, post student projects, communicate with possibly the principal, interview things. I think the blog can go really far away with bridging the home and the school community. Also with presentations, I'm big into having students speak in researching and developing those lifelong skills of gathering and finding accurate and important information that interests them. So we'll definitely be using that with both presentations and the research aspect of that. I can see a lot of both of those in my classroom in positive ways, not just lectures and presentations, things like that, but having students finding information that they find um, to be their passion, and then sharing it with others and backing that up with evidence and things like that. Also to impact a lot of communication, possibly doing like a worldwide literacy unit, or talking to neighboring classrooms, authors, things like that, just building the communication to the world around us, which I think is really important. Also, lastly, fun. I think technology is one way to get those kids engaged further than they've ever been before, and also I personally think it's a good classroom management tool on its own. I think a lot of kids find an interest in technology when they don't find many other things in the classroom as interesting. So it's a way to get those kids that sometimes need a little more push to be involved. I think technology is one of the most impactful ways to begin doing so. So that's what I all learned and what I'm bringing with me in my student teaching and my own classroom in the future. Thank you so much for a great semester, and I hope to keep in touch.